Hello. So today I'll be telling you the story about Microsoft and how this particular company was able to revolutionize and also help the computer industry to become the type of computers which we know today. Microsoft has come a long way during those times where there will be no physical desktop where somebody could see what is happening on the computer. During that time, computers were just hard disk. They were just a type of particular package where it was just the CPU. The desktop was not there where or the monitor where somebody can be able to see what is going inside the computer. So this story starts in the year of 1969, where there are four boys in a particular type of college in the United States, and these boys, one of them is Bill Gates, and also another one is called Paul Allen. These were the founder of Microsoft and also the people who advanced and also helped the world into becoming so advanced in computer technology. So they are sitting somewhere in 1969 where they are able to use computers. And during that time, the computers which were during that time, they were just normal computers which were, they didn't have any monitors. As I have just said, they didn't have any monitor. It was just a type of desktop where this particular computer, the output of that computer will be just raw data. There will be nothing to interpret this raw data which the computer produces. It will be a person does it manually. So during that time, the data will be interpreted manually, and not many people would have that capability of interpreting the raw data which the computers have. But during that time, the computers were having so many bugs, and the computers had so many loopholes. Anybody could use the computers also. And during that time in 1969, it's when now Paul Allen and also Bill Gates and his other two friends were looking to enter into the computer system and also program their own games like tic-tac-toe so that they can play, because during that time Bill Gates was around 16 years old. These people were just young children during that time, young, just teenagers. So what they basically did is they hacked into that particular computer, and they were able to use that computer for free because the computers were being paid for. And during that time, the fee for that particular computer was very expensive. So the only way they could have used it is just hacking into the computer and having some free hours using that computer, until later on they were able to be noticed, and also now many people knew what they were doing, and that's when now they were able to be banned out of that particular club, and to be not to be told, they were told not to come back again over there. That's when later on they were able to form a computer club where they will be able to program for these computers. And the first people which were the first ones to hire them was that particular computer which they hacked into. That computer was the one which hired the four boys, Bill Gates, Paul Allen, and the other two other ones. But later on in the years, it's when now Bill Gates and also Paul Allen had to separate their ways, where Paul Allen went to learn computer science and also Bill Gates went to Harvard to learn about law. And later on in the years around there in 1975 over there, there's a particular computer, just the same type of model of computers where it is just a basically CPU. There's no monitor where anybody can see what is being transmitted or what the computer is working through with. So later on in 1975, a computer called Alta 8080 was released, and this particular computer, it was a shock for everybody in the world, and many people were talking about it. So what Bill Gates did, he called his friend Paul Allen, and they discussed about this particular computer, and they said they wanted to make a particular system, and also which can be able to interpret it's just a normal software which can be able to interpret for that particular computers into the raw data into what somebody can be able to read and also access it normally. So they came up with an idea. What they did, they called the company and told them that they have an already made software where it can be able to interpret the data which that particular computer is outputting, and it can be able to be showed as a processed data already. So the computer guys told Bill Gates and also Paul Allen that they can come with their presentation and they can come to present what they wanted to show them, and also this type of software which the operating system which they had. So we can basically say they were the first one to design and also make an operating system. So what the two people did, they divided themselves the work. The particular interface and also the look of the operating system was given to Paul Allen, and also now the coding of that particular operating system was left to Bill Gates. Now they started coding for that particular operating system. And remember, they had already told these people that they had already working operating system. So those people scheduled a particular date where they'll be able to meet, and also they can be able to present this operating system. So what Bill Gates and Paul Allen did, started making that operating system along their way. And even during the deadline of that particular meeting, the operating system was not fully finished. It was, let's say, three-quarter finished. And now when that deadline date had reached, they had to make the operating system even when they were traveling to that particular location where the meeting was. Even along the way, they were just doing the final finishes and also the touches. And also one thing, they didn't test that particular operating system. So it was basically not what it was a rush, and also it was something which was 50-50. They knew that these people can, when they go to that particular meeting, the operating system can either not work or not boot up. So luckily, when they went to present the operating system, they found that the operating system was working very good. They had no bugs, and the people which they were presenting this particular operating system, they accepted the operating system. And this is when now they got a particular contract which they'll be making the operating system for this computer called Alta 8080. And that's now when the company of Paul Allen and also Bill Gates, called Microcomputer Software, which in the short form is called Microsoft, Microcomputer Software. So that's when now they made a particular company called that Microcomputer Software under Microsoft, which will be selling this particular operating system, which will be able to interpret the particular data of computers into something which is readable and also something which can be accessed easily, unlike the other things which were in the past. So we can say these are the boys which brought the first and also the first user interface where somebody can see what is happening into a computer. So later on in the year of 1980, it's when now the company began to blow up, and it was now earning a revenue of over $30 million over in a year. This was the revenue which it was generating. So what they did, they decided to open a particular headquarter in Japan. And after opening a headquarter in Japan, it's now when they started going to public, and many people started sorting after these boys. And mainly it was Bill Gates, because Paul Allen was having some particular sickness which attacked him later on in the years. So they were seeking for Bill Gates and also his particular software, but these two were still partners and they were still working together. So what now Bill Gates did, he presented another presentation to IBM and told IBM, during that time IBM was the leading people which were making the machines of any type of computers of machines. So they didn't have any software or an operating system that will help their machines run. So basically what Bill Gates did was he decided and told IBM that he has an operating system which will be used and can be used to run inside the machine of IBM. And that's when now IBM told Bill Gates that he can be able to come and show them the type of operating system that he's talking about. And during that time, also Bill Gates didn't have any operating system. So what he did, he bought an operating system from another particular company for $75,000, and he promised the company that he'll be paying them some dividends over the years, and also if the company also grows, he will pay even more dividends. And that's when now he was able to acquire a particular operating system and also did some retouch to it and named that particular operating system Microsoft DOS, MS-DOS. And that's when now those particular operating system now were being sold by the IBM computers, and also they were being licensed to other computers, any other computers that wanted to have that operating system, like the Compaq computers. Now many computers now started having that operating system, and during that time in 1980, it started becoming a particular type of monopoly in that particular business, because the most, and also the most type of operating systems which were being used were the Microsoft operating system. So around the year of 1983, the operating systems were basically a monopoly, and the only particular operating system which was not being used to be of Microsoft was the Apple company. And that time is when the Apple company had produced its own Apple computer, which was the Apple Macintosh. And that's when now Apple were using their own operating system. That was the only company which was not using Microsoft's operating system. So later on in the years, and during that time also, Apple had created something which was their particular operating system had a graphical user interface where anybody can be able to see the particular type of icons, and also the user can be able to interact with the computer very easily. And this was unlike for Microsoft, because Microsoft had no such thing as graphical user interface during that time in 1983. So what Microsoft decided is to make a particular computer which can be able to be friendly to the user, and the user can be able to interact with it very easily, like the Apple computer. And that's when now Microsoft decided to make another type of operating system, which although didn't blow up very well, and the operating system was basically a flop. So later on in the years, Microsoft was trying to make other new things which will be used to implement on that particular computers of theirs. And one of the things which they did, they bought a particular package. In that package, they decided to present a package to people where that package will be used like Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Microsoft Spreadsheet. So the only thing that they acquired in that particular package was the Microsoft PowerPoint, which they were able to buy from another computer company, and they were able to present this to the general public, and the general public knew this is a package which will be in the Microsoft computers, and also this also boosted their particular sales in the computer very much. And that's when now in 1986 is when now Microsoft was able now to be sold, and also was able to be listed among the company shares, and all. And this listing said that Microsoft was worth $350 million during that time of 1986. And this was a very big boost for them. And now that particular shares also meant that Bill Gates had around 150 million net worth, and he was becoming the youngest billionaire. His future had already started showing. And that's when now also the workers which were working and also owned shares on that particular company also became richer in that listing of 1986. So later on in the years, Microsoft now decided to implement other things, and also started buying other companies during that time. And this was later on boosted by in 1995, when they released a particular type of operating system which was called Microsoft 95, Windows 95. And this, before that, they had already released other Windows like Windows 1, Windows 2. They had already released them. So in 1995, they released Windows 95. And this Windows 95, they put around $350 million in just advertisement, and also everything also leading to this production of this particular Windows was put. That was the initial budget, be it advertising and also making of that Windows 95. So $350 million. So you can just imagine how much they put into this particular software. So you can just imagine how much they put into the making of this particular software. It was a lot of money. So later on, this was rewarded later on in the years in 1996, where they were able now to get the returns. And Microsoft 95, Windows 95 was very famous, and many people now started using Microsoft, and it became so public during those days. And remember, the 1990s, it was the revolution of the computers, and many people now started sorting out for computers during those years, and many movies were being made, and computers was now started becoming a thing which many people could afford, because during that time computers were very expensive. For you to buy a computer, it was no one will be able to afford a computer him just himself. They will have to use it as a public, and also it was very hectic during those times. The computers were power consuming. It was very difficult for you to use just and also on a particular computer. So they were able to make that particular operating system, and that operating system was a big blow for them. And now that's when now Microsoft had now sealed the deal around the world that they are leading producer of operating system. Many computers were using the operating system, be it HP, be it Compaq, be it IBM. Most of the companies were using their operating system. That's when now later on in the years in 1998, because of this particular monopoly in the market, they were sued by the US government, because also Microsoft were using something which they made the Internet Explorer, and also they decided that nobody will be able to make apps inside the Microsoft. Not just only them will be able to make those particular apps. That's when the US government sued them, and they now opened to that party apps, because they were making everything monopoly, everything which is in the market, they are the ones which they were making. So this led to no job employment only from Microsoft, and also it hindered other companies from also growing. So that's why in 1998 they were now allowed to third-party apps to be operating in their particular software, and that's now the apps like the Chrome now came about, and other apps inside the Windows which we know today. Now it was given birth in the year of 1998. So later on in the year of 1998, it is when now also people started using and also using that particular software of Microsoft. Later on in the years, Bill Gates will release a particular smartphone and also an operating system for a phone. And also this operating system of a phone, he released it in 2003. And at that time, Bill Gates didn't have any hopes or didn't see that the operating system of a phone will be very useful, like the Android phones, like the iPhones. So he snapped this particular category and decided not to focus on it. And during that time in 1998, he was able to appoint another CEO, which will be the head of Microsoft. So later on in the years, it's when now in 2007, he was having a meeting with people like Steve Jobs, and he was asked about particular about the future, and he was asked if he sees any insights about the future, and he said very confidently that he sees that in the future not everybody will have his own particular space. Like when you go to the sitting room, you'll have to watch the TV. When you go to office, you'll have to use a computer. When you go to somewhere else, you'll have to use a specific thing. So he didn't see that once one particular object will replace all of these things, like the smartphone will be used to interact with everything. He didn't see that future. So when he was asked, he said he can't see any future, and this is one of his regrets later on in his life, because the smartphone was able to do all the capable things which the computer can do, which the TV can do. They can all be found in the smartphone. And this is what now led to Bill Gates, and also him not being able to be a monopoly in the market, because if Bill Gates had seen this particular idea, he would have invested in the smartphone industry even earlier on. And remember in 1998, what Bill Gates did, he also bought some shares during the 1990s. He bought shares inside the Apple company, and it bought around 10% shares in the Apple company. So you can just imagine how much power did this particular person have. And also in 1997, it's when now Bill Gates was able to become a billionaire after his company being listed to be among the companies which was worth more than $1 billion. It tripled the amount of worth during 1998 after the release of the Microsoft and also the Windows 95. So that's when now Bill Gates now lost to the deal of his particular company being the monopoly and also producing a smartphone. Like what Steve Jobs did, he produced the iPhone, and the iPhone now operating system has taken over all over the world, and this Apple particular operating system is now known all over the world because the Apple has the computers and also have the phone-based market, and this is what Microsoft had also, and also it was a good opportunity for him because the app he was during the 1990s he was competing with Steve Jobs and Apple because of the computers, but right now Steve Jobs and also Apple has gone so far into also the market of the mobile phones, and right now Microsoft is in the leader of any type of operating system. Other things like Apple have overtaken Microsoft and also Windows because Windows is not right now the main operating system. So that's the story of Windows and also Microsoft and how it was able to grow to what we know today. And later on, Windows did a lot of investment in the years of 2000, where it was able to make a gaming console, which is the Xbox, and it was able to make other internet things like the Bing, and also it had to do other purchases and also other make other companies like the DreamWorks companies. And this is what the all the things which are being attributed to Microsoft. And during that, right now in the year of 2013, in 2010 they were able to make their own smartphone, where this smartphone didn't hit very much because in the year of 2007 other companies had already made their own smartphones and also they had already dominated the whole market. So later on in 2010 the Microsoft phone was a complete flop and it didn't do very well, and that's when now Bill Gates decided to discontinue the smartphone category of Microsoft phones, and that's when now Bill Gates says that this was his biggest regret of not paying attention to the smartphone industry. So that's the story of Microsoft. I hope you liked this story, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and watch out for the next video. And I say thank you for watching this video. Till we meet next time.